Hello, everybody. This is Jayney Goddard, President of the Complementary Medical Association. As you know, the CMA is the world's largest and best respected and best known and actually longest running professional membership body for very highly qualified natural healthcare and complementary medical practitioners. We number in our membership the most amazing, outstanding training schools and colleges of complementary medicine. We also, of course, register and represent clinics, spas, retreats, and even have CMA approved suppliers as our members. Now today I'm actually so privileged to be joined by John and Patricia, and they are from the Oisin School of Bioenergy, and they're joining us from the Midlands of Ireland, if I've got that right, one of the ancient centres of the mystical and magical field of energy healing. And I do say mystical and magical, but of course, actually, as you know, we always bring you evidence-based information. So I'm going to turn this interview today over to John and Patricia and to welcome you on board and say thank you so much. You've been CMA members for many, many years now. We're so proud to have you. And I know that you teach incredible work and amazing healing work to so many of your students. And many of your students have graduated and come on to become CMA members themselves. So welcome, John and Patricia.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, delighted to be here.
You're so welcome. What I wanted to ask you to share with us today are some healing techniques that people can do by themselves while we're in social isolation and socially distancing ourselves. But first of all, I would like very much if you could explain to people what it is that you do, what your training school or college does, and the sorts of things that people could expect to learn if they came to study with you. Would that be a good way of introducing yourselves?
That would be perfect.
Absolutely excellent, because what we do is we've got 4 courses, and based on energy, bioenergy, and we have a bioenergy healing course, we have a sound healing course, we have a self-healing course, and an animal healing course for the animal lovers out there who would like to be able to learn how to do energy healing on their animals. And what we might do is suggest that Patricia might introduce how we got involved in energy healing in the first place. Usually it's a trauma that brings about a change in your life. So perhaps Patricia might explain how she became involved with energy healing.
Yes, please. That would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
And I will be quite brief, Jenny. So, I would have worked in nursing for a good number of years. I trained in England, initially in psychiatric nursing, was always fascinated by the mind, and lucky enough to have worked in an area where hypnosis was applied over 60 years ago, and different forms of therapy. I would have had a great interest in the mind, but it never occurred to me that one day how my mind would be affected by a tragedy. I was involved in a major house fire over 30 years ago. I was trapped in the fire. I was brought out unconscious. One person died, one person lost most of their limbs. I had not minor, but I had lung damage, but no other physical ailments. But it was a catastrophic event for me. I couldn't function following it. I had panic attacks, I had nightmares. My fear, I couldn't be inside a room, the door was closed. My children's lives were held, they couldn't turn on the cooker. But it got worse and worse and worse. And coming from an Orthodox background, of course, I went down every avenue of medication, counseling, psychotherapy, you name it, I tried it. And it was in true hopelessness, helplessness, my life as I knew it had ended. And because my lung capacity wasn't great, my ability to play sport or to get back into any kind of a functioning lifestyle was very limited. And I was introduced to somebody who did energy therapy. Now, it wasn't on my Richter scale of what would energy therapy mean. But I said, what have I to lose? I'm not living, I'm not even existing at this stage. And I went and had a session of this energy therapy, hadn't a clue what it was about, off the wall. But after then I went back again, and I noticed very subtle changes. The level of fear had decreased, that I wasn't jumping out of bed in the middle of the night, I wasn't tearing around the fields in fear, and anxiety, the panic attacks started to decrease, and I couldn't quite fathom it. I could not fathom how it could work because you couldn't see it. And as time went by and I did a number of sessions and I got better and better and better, and I said, this couldn't really work. Then I decided, no, there is something to this, and I decided to train in energy work. So I did quite an extensive training. I had phenomenal results, and then I did craniosacral training and counseling and all these other courses. But over the years, I discovered nothing changed what had happened to me. Nothing, it was the loss, the grief, the anger, nothing changed that. But the energy work decreased the intensity of it, that I could talk about it as a memory, not a crippling and overwhelming emotion. That when I think about it, I was crippled with fear. That intensity went, and that's when I decided I am going to learn how to do this. And then I found where I would have people coming for craniosacral therapy who would have had major accidents, like car accidents, were coming for problems with their back, their spine, head injuries. But I didn't feel they were making the progress that I felt they could be making. And then I realized the amount of trauma and shock that was in their system. Each time they sat back into a car, they were contracting and squeezing down in fear in case it happened again. I switched then to working on the root chakra for mortal fear, decreased the intensity of the mortal fear, and the client's recovery time was amazing because they weren't contracting each time they thought about the accident or somebody mentioned it. So I learned how the physical body was responding to the emotional stimuli. So by decreasing the intensity of the emotion, the physical body automatically relaxed. And using the same principle, we have a particular part of the training for babies, for birth trauma, pre-birth trauma, or where a mother would have had an accident or a fall during pregnancy. The little baby has contracted also. So when the baby is born, the baby is in shock and fear. So people would bring babies, newborn babies, for therapy, especially if the baby was screaming all night. So we introduced a part of our training specifically for babies up to about 8 months, because after that, they won't stay lying on the table for you anyway. But that was the basis of it. So I found, for me, I can only speak from where I came from, what it did for me. I felt I need people to hear this. I would have loved if this therapy was out when my children were young. It wasn't. But we set up the training then that other people can, because of the fire, and to this day I will watch television, and if there's fire on it, I'll go, I don't really want to watch this, but I don't run away. And I don't feel that need to not turn on the cooker, the pan. I can live.
Thank you, Patricia. That is absolutely extraordinary. My goodness. So really, I suppose what we would call what your response was almost PTSD, an extreme PTSD, and rightfully so. We're coming through a situation like that. Thank goodness, very, very few people ever get to experience trauma of that extent. I just can't even begin to imagine going through that sort of thing. It's, my goodness. But you've come out of it and you've found a way of surviving. And not only that, what you've done is you've somehow transmuted that horrific experience into something that is beneficial for all of us, which is just absolutely remarkable. So you and John now have the courses that you were just saying, that John was just talking about, which is absolutely amazing for all of us. So as I understand it, most of your courses are now online, is that right?
Yes, the courses are online indeed. My own involvement was initially in the music industry, and then I started studying sound healing. And through the sound healing, I joined up with Patricia and then did the Domansis bioenergy method, which is like world renowned. And from there, we amalgamated both our trainings into what we started doing as live trainings and now doing online.
Fabulous.
We had one lady who actually came to us who was due for a leg amputation, and she had been told that due to gangrene in her right foot, her leg was going to be amputated. And Patricia and I worked together with her for quite a number of sessions, and eventually using the sound healing and the bioenergy, the vibrational medicine of sound healing, combined with the bioenergy. Having worked on her, she attended her doctor and consultant a number of times during this for various tests. And they said, whatever you're doing, keep this up because you're improving slightly. And thankfully, at the end, she didn't lose her leg. And that was phenomenal. So it's amazing what bioenergy can actually do when it's used in a particular way. And
yes,
we should know how to use this. And of course, it can be applied. There's no guarantee of success every time, but it can be applied for major illnesses and sicknesses such as cancer, gangrene, and all kinds of other breathing difficulties, lung problems, heart problems, whatever the case may be. But all of these are shown on our website, and we're delighted to be able to share our ideas with people. Yes, indeed.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful, because the thing is, you see, I think that what we have to be really clear about is that the work that we do in complementary medicine can be an amazing adjunct to people, even if they are undergoing chemotherapy, for example, and radiotherapy and so on. You know, you mentioned cancers there. So what we're not doing in complementary medicine, because it's an accusation that's thrust upon us all the time, which is, oh, you people, you awful people, you're denying gullible people access to conventional medicine. Well, of course, I'm sure you would agree with me in saying that nothing could be further from the truth. And actually, we would never stand in the way of somebody going and having conventional treatment. But what we can do is to support people, often astoundingly effectively, to come through the side effects of many of those treatments as well. So I think it's really important for us to clarify that for the viewers. So what I wanted to know was, obviously right now we're going through the what I call the COVID challenge. I won't call it the COVID crisis because I don't like using alarmist language, but let's call it the COVID challenge, because it is transforming the way that we live our lives, isn't it? So what I was wondering is there anything that you do that people can actually do for themselves? Because a lot of people are talking about being traumatized. A lot of people are talking about almost setting up in themselves a almost like a PTSD. It's a very strange thing, because it's quite subtle, isn't it? It's not quite PTSD, but it could be that way in a few more weeks if we still have to shelter and socially isolate. So would you tell us a little bit about ways that perhaps people can do this if they are sheltering with people, and perhaps for those of us, for example, like me, who are actually sheltering completely alone?
Absolutely. Well, just to clarify something initially, it's to get across to people with alternative healing, because you can't see it, it's an energy. But you can't see electricity and you still accept it. You can't see magnetism, you can't see gravity, yet you accept all of these energies all around you. So we are actually made of energy, and because we're energy beings, the work that we do is working at an energy level. So this is why, as Patricia said earlier on, it may be subtle, but the changes, you can notice the changes in time. And we would always state, both on our live trainings and online, that you always consult your doctor, your GP, your medical practitioner in the case of any health issues. And as you say, it's an adjunct, it's an addition to be able to use some form of healing, such as energy healing, in addition to whatever else you're doing in between. So I'll just show you a couple of things.
As being part of your foundation, Jenny, it's supportive because we have very strict guidelines and instructions on the trainings that what you do, and we will not stand over anyone that breaks those rules or regulations. And it's great to be part of CMA. It feels the group. I always work good as a group sport, work together, and I feel we all working together towards one aim, and the aim, as I would say, is to promote health, preserve life, and alleviate suffering. It's
Absolutely.
all towards one aim. It's
Yes.
not one or the other, you know. And I
Patricia, you've got it exactly right. That's exactly where we are. You know, that's exactly the aim of the CMA. Thank you for pointing that out. It's absolutely super. Yeah,
You've created fantastic. You've created a great opportunity there for people to be supported and know that they're supported by other like-minded people, and the support you give and the information you share, scientific research information that's on the increase on a daily basis, it's phenomenal. So from that point of view, CMA has certainly helped us in a great deal down through the years. So I'll just show a couple of techniques that might help people. For a start, very, very quickly, and even children can do this. If you rub your hands together like this, very, very quickly.
I'm joining in.
Join in, everybody join in. And let's hold your hands apart very, very slightly, 3 or 4 inches. Feel that tingling feeling in your hands.
Yes, I can feel it.
Yeah. You would. You're very tuned into the energy. So you can feel that tingling feeling. It's like static if you put your hands against a TV screen. It also feels like it's a balloon in your hands. And if you feel that it's just the air, if you very quickly move your hands like this, if you can't feel it already, move your hands very, very quickly like that and you'll feel the air. But then as you stop and hold your hands, you can still feel that tingling feeling. So it's not just the air, it's actually the energy that's in your hands. So now that you've discovered what your own energy is about and feeling your own aura, this is your aura, I'm going to demonstrate a very simple technique with Patricia that anyone can do if they're in an enclosed area at the moment, if they're cocooned with their family or whatever in an apartment. So I'm just going to demonstrate what's called mind calming. So if Patricia just moves over towards me a little bit, I'll just demonstrate. Can you see us on screen there now at the moment?
Yes, I can. That's absolutely fine, Don.
You rub your hands together like this, build up the energy in your hands, have the person sit down, ask them to close their eyes and do diaphragmatic breathing. So breathe deeply down into their tummy, let their tummy out as they take a breath in, and slowly let it out again. So it's important for the person that's sitting down to relax. It's also important for the person about to do the work on this person to be as relaxed as they can be, because one person can influence another person's energy field. And if I'm busy in my mind as I'm doing this, this person won't be able to relax because they'll be influenced by my energies that are flying. Okay, so it's important for me as in this situation to be as relaxed as possible myself. So I'll do my own diaphragmatic breathing and I'll simply place my 2 hands on this person's shoulder like that, very, very gently. And what I'm doing is I'm sending an energy flow from one hand to the other, from left to right, through this person's head. And as I'm relaxed and I'm doing my breathing exercises, I'm doing what's called mind calming. And you can do this for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, at any time of the day or night with anybody. And you can actually do this with your children to help them calm down if they're doing an exam, if they're doing some study, or if they're just hot and bothered and their mind is flying around, or adult to adult. It's a fantastic technique. Now, that's called mind calming. I'm going to show you very, very quickly.
Let me just ask you, sorry to butt in there. Let me just ask you, how long should you actually do that for?
You can do it for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 20 minutes. After that, it's no longer necessary to continue it on for a longer period of time. 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, then take a break, maybe later on in the day, do it again. It's just one technique that you can do on a regular basis. And it's absolutely, it's so relaxing at any stage, whether we're going through this challenging times at the moment. And when the challenging times are over, the children are back at school and they're hot and bothered about doing exams, or a husband and wife is going to work or back from work in the evening time and they're feeling all tense. It is absolutely fantastic. Do some mind calming between the two of you, and it is absolutely fantastic to relax.
My mother, Jayney, passed on 2 years ago. She would have been 93, but she was in a nursing home in the last couple of years. And she loved the energy work. She loved it, but she loved that, just to put her 2 hands on her shoulders in the nursing home in a wheelchair, and she'd sit there forever. And you can do, if you're on your own, Jen, you can do this one. Is place your hand below your solar plexus and your other hand above your head and do an anti-clockwise movement. And that is helping to clear the crown chakra. It's like, and it's also very good for sinus problems. So you go anti-clockwise, just clear, and you can do this watching television. You don't have to sit down and decide to do it. You can do a couple of minutes there and stop. But the one that John is going to show you has a full sequence to it. So we won't delay you, Jenny. Show you the one with the humming.
The humming. This is absolutely fabulous if you're on your own. You can get your kids to do this. You can do this. Your husband can do it. Your partners, whoever else is in the apartment with you. So humming has scientifically, we won't get into this, but scientifically proven to be unbelievably effective to help the energy field in the body. So what you do is this. You start doing a sound, right? In school, we probably learned A, A, E, O, U, all the vowels. It doesn't matter what sound you make. It doesn't matter if you're a good singer or a bad singer, makes no difference. It's the vibrations you're going to create in your body. So don't worry about being a good singer. Oh, I couldn't do this because I'm not a good singer. This makes no difference to singing. There's nothing got to do with the quality of your voice. So what you do is you create a sound, and you place your hand on any part of your body where you feel you need a little healing. So let's assume you have digestive problems, or you're feeling a little tense at the moment in the tummy area or in the solar plexus area. Place your hands there and make a humming sound like this. Oh, I have to go again. Oh. As you do that, your hands can be one above the other. It can be this way. It can be one hand on top of the other, just in this area. But what you're doing with your mind, as you're creating this sound, you're creating a vibration here. So you send this vibration to whatever part of your body needs healing. If you have a problem with your shoulder, you can take one hand, put it on your shoulder, and do your sound again. And it can be any sound you create. And what you're doing is you're sending the vibration that you're creating inside of your body. This is personal sound healing. You're the instrument in this particular case. It was the first instrument on the planet. Before all other instruments were invented, we had our voice. And they used it back in the old days. So use your voice, create this sound that you're creating inside, and send the vibrations of that to any part of your body. You could send it to your shoulder, and you go, oh, and amazingly, you'll start feeling a sense of relief, because one of two things happen. Number one, you're no longer thinking about the past or the future or the present. You're no longer thinking about anything other than just what's happening to you at this moment in time. It's fantastic for being in the here and now and being in the present. As you do this, even if you place your 2 hands like this and you're lying in bed and you're a little bit worried at night time, you can just lie there and make a sound. Oh, and send that sound to every part of your body. You often think about how a cat purrs, and the cat purrs creating a vibration throughout its body. And a lot of people like to have a cat sit on their knee and feel the cat purring. And that in itself has been scientifically shown to be quite healing in itself. So humming and send the sound anywhere that you can.
Just to mention, John, there are particular keys for particular, supposed to be for particular chakras, Jenny. But there's I am not musical. I write lyrics, but I know nothing about music. So when somebody watches that video, they can say, oh, the key of, we'll say the heart is the key of
of F, but it's not important.
It's not important.
If you have a keyboard and you're musical, you can say, right, you can work on the 7 chakras, starting off with the root chakra, which is C. You go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right up along your 7 chakras. You can go online and find out about the keys that are associated, but that's not important. It doesn't matter if you don't play an instrument. Once you can create a sound, and you can have your kids do this between them and say, who can make the loudest sound, or who can make the highest sound, or one person. And this is amazing. If you've got a group of people, say it's 4 or 5 people in a room, have one person create a sound, and then the next person joins in, and the next person joins in. And this is amazing. They might all sound like they're all crows to begin with, and it sounds like a dog's dinner. It just sounds nothing like music, more like noise. But when they start humming together, an amazing thing will happen. They all create a unique sound between them. It sounds like a choir. So for a few people to get together in a room and do all this awing and umming, it's the same thing, but send the sound to whatever part of your body needs healing at that moment in time. Fantastic to do if you're on your own.
So John, just to clarify then, what if people are, let's say they're by themselves, but they don't have a particular physical ailment.
Yes.
Let's say that they are deeply stressed by this whole COVID-19 challenge. How would they use that humming in that sort of situation to calm themselves down?
They're told it just above the tummy. You have
anxiety is here.
Anxiety is just underneath the breast, underneath the ribs.
So that's the solar plexus.
Yeah. The solar plexus. You place your hand on the solar plexus, one hand on the solar plexus like that, or one hand above the other, which is the way you automatically do it lying in bed at night. You just might put your 2 hands there. So one person on their own, feeling a little fearful, worried, a little bit anxious at this moment in time, what they can do is place the 2 hands there. As Patricia was talking about earlier on, the breathing, if you're not in the mood for singing at this moment in time, you can do your breathing just there. Breathe in and out and be aware of your breath coming in and out of your body, coming in, inhaling, and make a sound as it's inhaling. As you're inhaling, just go, and actually listen to the sound. As you listen to the sound, everything else goes out of your mind because you're focusing on hearing the sound of your own breath coming in. Hold it for 2 or 3 seconds and make a sound as you exhale. It could be a wind sound like, or it can be a vocal sound like, oh, as you're saying to yourself, oh, that feels better. You know, if somebody asks you and they give you a little massage, a head massage, or, you know, they hold your hand or they stand beside you and say, look, how are you feeling now at the end of your day? And you go, oh, I'm feeling better now. Isn't it amazing how we actually make a sound? It's not just saying, I'm feeling better. You go, oh, that's better. If you get into a bath or into a shower and you say, oh, that's better, and you're on your own, and somebody might knock on the door and say, who are you talking to? I'm talking to myself. So you're talking yourself into better health. That's what you're doing. You're speaking to your own body, and your own body will respond if you speak to your own body.
Fantastic. John and Patricia, thank you both so very much. I know that we don't even have time to go any further, but we've not even scraped the surface of what you actually offer. So what I wanted to do is just to let our viewers know that we will put all of your contact details in the video notes underneath the video. So everybody that you're watching, if you can just click this little down arrow button just by the bottom of this video. So if you click on that, the show notes will open and you'll actually see all of John and Patricia's contact details, and obviously all the website details for Oisin School of Bioenergy as well. Remember to subscribe to this channel, and if you click the little bell icon at the side, you'll be notified as we put up more videos for you. We're putting up loads and loads of amazingly useful content at the moment. So I just want to finally thank you both so much for joining in today. It's been an absolute pleasure being with you. I shall bid you goodbye now, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for talking.
The pleasure was ours.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck with the
Not
CMA.
at all. Thank you. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.